I've helped runners over 40 get faster, healthier, and pain-free without spending hours running every week. I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist, run coach. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to get in shape after 40, just using 75 minutes of running per week or other mixed cardio without long, exhausting runs or breaking your body down. Trying to run like 5, 10 hours a week. So a big problem is that most runners over 40 think that they need to run more miles to get fit, right? They think that, you have to be running almost every day of the week, that you have to run at least 5 hours a week or even 10 hours a week. Unless you're training for a specific goal, like you're training for a marathon. And by the way, even with a marathon, you could actually get by on 3 to 5 hours a week. But anyhow, they think, hey, I don't have enough time to train, right? I have to take care of work, family, and life. And those are real responsibilities, by the way. I get it. And the other issue that comes up is, hey, they try to run more, they try to do more miles, they get injured, they get burnt out, right? The body breaks down. And the body just doesn't recover like it used to in their 20s when, trying to run like 6 days a week. So they feel stuck. They're not improving, constantly dealing with aches and pains. And the reality is that you don't need more time. You just need a smarter approach, right? You can actually train with a more time-efficient approach without breaking down your body, without having a lot of running-related injuries. Because I've seen this with folks 40 years old and older. They start taking up running. They start getting these overuse injuries, whether it's runner's knee, IT band syndrome, shin splints, Achilles, tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, you name it, all sorts of running-related injuries. They're essentially overuse injuries because their body's just not used to the impact. Maybe they ran when they were younger, then they had like a big gap, and they try to pick up running again, and they get hurt. Or maybe they just started running. I was like complete beginners as adults. But anyhow, if you want a copy of this plan to learn how to build a pain-free running routine, I'm showing inside my free school community for runners, link in the description. So my recommendation, shift from this idea that you need more running to smarter running, right? You could actually focus on intensity, not just volume or duration. And to be clear, different approaches do work, but if you're pressed for time, you could get an efficient workout, just 75 minutes a week of purposeful running, right? This is essentially 25 minutes 3 times a week, right? So this 3-day structure, just gave it away, right? 25 minutes 3 times a week. You could do the same type of workout. You could vary the workouts. It really depends on your experience level, your fitness level. If you're a complete beginner, you could simply just do run-walk intervals 3 times a week, right? And then the other days of the week, you could just walk. If you're a bit more experienced, maybe you're more intermediate or advanced, you could have a high intensity interval day where you actually do really short bursts of intensity. For example, 2-minute intensity, a 2-minute round repeated for, let's say, 10 minutes, right? 20 minutes or so, give or take again. Or you could do maybe 5 by 5 minute rounds, right? So kind of a little longer interval. You could do it with just running, or you could even mix it up, alternate with running or biking or Stairmaster or elliptical, right? There's different ways to do these intervals. You could do just straight 25-minute at a tempo, comfortably hard, right? Kind of like a threshold or even at sub-threshold. Endurance run, this could be done inside on the treadmill or a track or even outside. And same thing with the interval, you could do on a track as well, whatever your preference is. And then you could have like a more speed day, VO2 max, where you train even shorter intervals, maybe 400, like under 2 minutes, like 400 meter essentially, if you run like a minute 30, even 200 meter. So 200, 400 meter sprints or repeats. You could do this on a track. And again, you could do this also indoors as well. But you could mix it up at different types of running workouts. But if you're a complete beginner, even just walk intervals where you just kind of run easy or jog and then you walk. Do that for 25 minutes, and you can, for example, you might run for a minute, walk for 2 minutes, right? And just alternate back and forth. So many different variations. And then you could pair this with strength training. So then just essentially 3 times a week, you're doing like a pretty vigorous workout. You're doing running. And I also recommend strength training as a big part of this. Strength training doesn't have to be long either. You don't have to do high volume strength training. You could do single set strength training, right? We train the muscle, go to momentary muscular fatigue, or also known as training to failure. It just means you can't do another quality rep. You just fully fatigue, whether it's your arms or your legs. I recommend doing full body. You could do full body in 20 to 30 minutes or so. You pair on the same day as you run, and now you're only doing an hour. Again, it doesn't even have to take long. And if you're still very pressed for time, heck, you can even shorten the strength training to just 15 minutes. You can even do just 15 minutes of strength training and then pair with the run, and essentially be done in under 45 minutes or so if you're really that pressed for time. And if we needed to pare it down even further, yes, you could even decrease the run to 15 minutes. So you could even just spend 30 minutes if you're that pressed for time. But again, I find most people, once they start getting moving, that they can at least carve out 30, 45 minutes to work out, right? But again, it's just 3 days a week, by the way. So I feel most folks can get that. But heck, if you need to do it 2 days a week, you can even do 2 days a week. I'm just giving you guys options here. And then you can do low impact cross training, so other days of the week, right? Let's say you train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Maybe just go for a walk, 20-minute walk, right? Doesn't have to be long. 20, 30 minutes on the off days. If you want to mix it up, you could also do cycling, low impact, low intensity rowing. Again, these are just more easier activities. Again, if you want to ramp up the intensity, like you want to do a very intense session, then I would pair one of in the interval day when you're doing the more intense 3-day structure. But on the non-running days or the non-intensity days, just very like a recovery day, low impact cycling or an easy walk, essentially keep you active without beating up your joints. And then prioritize recovery. So this type of format that I recommend, just essentially doing the vigorous, more intense workouts just 3 days a week. You have other days of the week where you get to recover, work on mobility, where I recommend at least 10 minutes a day to do mobility. But even if you're pressed for time, you can do them every other day. So you can do that way. But again, I do tell folks, try to do mobility daily as well. 10 minutes a day works. And then you're able to, with the recovery, take a break from running so your body can recover from the running workouts. And then this leads to less overuse injuries. And most folks find this that they're able to stay more consistent over time when they're working a full-time job, taking care of family. And then you can scale this type of stuff, this routine that I'm recommending based on your fitness level, right? If you're a complete beginner, you could just start walking and then go run walk intervals. If more intermediate, you could do the intervals and the tempo. And if you're more advanced, you could do more intense, the sprint intervals. Right, essentially more the repeated sprints or really high intensity intervals. Again, you don't really necessarily have to increase volume. Now, if you really want to, if you want to do 2 days of intensity and 1 day of volume where you do a really long run, that's fine. That's one of the other structures I recommend is just 3 days per week, a long run, a tempo run, and a speed run. If you want to do a long run where you're spending an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you can do that. I made this video for the folks who say, hey, I don't have enough time to work out. Well, you could really condense it to just 3 days a week and just 75 minutes of the running portion. Right. So it could really condense, and you can still get a lot of the fitness benefits. I've seen folks able to get their running down to 8 minutes per mile, 7 minutes per mile. It's really possible when you train with these short bouts of intensity, even 6 minutes per mile as well. Excuse me, I forgot to mention that as well. So, yeah, talking about the results, less time spent, training, more consistency. And with this type of training, you could comfortably do 5K, 10K runs. Now, again, if you want to train for a marathon, yes, you're going to have to include long run, even the half marathon. You are going to have to include one long run a week if that's what you want to train for. But if you're not training for those longer distances, right, you just want to be fit enough that you could, join on the occasional 5K from time to time without feeling like you're out of breath. This type of training is great for that, even the occasional 10K as well. Again, are you going to be a world-class athlete? Right? Are you going to be the best runner in the world when you do this type of method? No, but it's good enough to get you fit, which I think this 80-20 approach, where you're going to get most of the benefits of running without having to spend hours and hours running. Again, you're not going to be an Olympic athlete training, an Olympic runner training like this, but you'll be at least good enough to participate and you could actually be decently fast as well. As long as you're doing the quality strength training and the quality run workouts that are recommended and you're consistent enough. So I currently have a few spots open to work with me for private one-to-one coaching to help you run pain-free and get in shape without having to waste time or spend hours and hours, out on the road running. If you're interested, there's a link to apply in the description. First come, first serve. So you don't need more time. You just need better structure. 3 quality runs beat 7 random runs or junk runs where you just feel like you're beating up your body all the time. Recovery, what makes progress possible, and including, the proper strength training as well. Consistency is better than intensity, and longevity beats ego. So if you found this useful, hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one.